Thank you for joining me on Understanding the Practice Video 2. This is about awareness of thoughts and feelings. So when I started practicing mindfulness meditation, I really had no idea how busy my brain was. I mean, I knew that I was heading off in different directions. Even though I was sitting right here, my brain was dragging me to different places. But until I sat down and started getting quiet, I had no idea about my thoughts. I didn't know the patterns of thoughts that I was having. I didn't know how often, this is just for me, I was dragged into thoughts of worry. I also have a really strong planning mind. And so when I am lost in thought, it's usually lost in a plan. I also never noticed how what I thought impacted how I felt. In fact, many times I'm not all too certain about how I feel. There is a whole body of learning that we won't get into through this, but if you're interested in a little bit more intricacy of feelings, Mark Brackett has a book called Permission to Feel. And when you open up the book, it's got all of these words, all this language of feelings. I just like to toss that in because he's one of my new favorites. But anyway, in terms of mindfulness practice, mindfulness brings us into the awareness of what we're thinking, where our thoughts take us, labeling what kind of thoughts they are. It also starts to get us in touch with how we feel, and maybe even the interconnectedness of how our thoughts impact how we feel. One of the topics we'll get into is inner critic. And for little ones, if you're teaching, that's the inner critter. So in the month of practices that come up for this month, we might dive into how critical are we of ourselves and of others? And what is the impact of that inner critic? You know, the inner critic, it's the voice in your head that's always judging or maybe always talking to you in a manner that's not really kind. But whatever the inner voice you have is, the practice of mindfulness brings us into that awareness of thoughts, patterns, what we're thinking, how we're feeling, awareness of feeling. So as we dive into this month's practices, that will be the focus.